Are you guys ready? Okay, so without further ado, please welcome to the stage Luigi Di Maio.
Mario. Hello, frogs! Let's
All right. Go for it.
There we go. So yeah, let's get started. We're happy to have Daniele here. My name is Luigi Di Maio. I'm director of DeFi at Ava Labs, focused on building out the Avalanche ecosystem. We have Daniele here, the wizard himself, who's focused on a lot of projects, abracadabra. You could just, why don't you introduce yourself? Talk a little bit about your life, how you got here, you know, that whole story.
So I'm Daniel. I'm a frog. Identify as a frog. Eventually, I'm also a DJ in DeFi. I'm the co-founder of 3 projects. The first one was Popsicle Finance, you can see on my shoes. Abracadabra Money, with Magic Internet Money as the stablecoin of the future. And we have Wonderland.money, which is the #1 in market cap projects on Avalanche. And that's good.
Time.
I think today, yeah, that's a fork of Olympus, but with the directionality of Avalanche, because I'm bullish as fuck on AVAX. So, we don't want to pair it with stables. We like unstable stuff. We like stuff that go up, not that stay there. I think that Magic Internet Money is stable enough for a project. So, Wonderland was an experiment actually. And when I was with my friends, we were looking at Avalanche. Well, this thing is not going to work. So. We were looking at Avalanche and we said we need to bring things that showcase how Avalanche chain is good. So what is good about Avalanche? It's fast, it's reliable, it's secure, it's cheap. So what better than give the opportunity to anyone to join a system like Olympus, but with less money, faster, easier to enter, and with the directionality of the LP of Avalanche, so it grows as the ecosystem grows. So the treasury can become something bigger as Avalanche scales to become one of the top protocols in the world. And then I asked Zeus and the guys of Olympus, and I said, I think that the future is definitely cross-chain, but I also think that Wonderland can be a very important piece and component on extending the Olympus Pro and the Olympus ecosystem into new chains and showcase how economics incentives can work on large scale if community grow together. And this was really interesting. There has been a little bit of drama in between the free homies and the better timekeepers. But in reality, we are all family. Like a lot of people don't say this, but a lot of people is in to make money. So they're very defensive on their backs, right? It's normal. But as we mentioned also, the founder of 3 Arrows Capital, we are transitioning towards a new concept where tribalism is the past and unity is what brings really blockchain into the new world. So I want to prove it with all our projects, and we are proving it. The Frog Nation is becoming exceptional. I have never seen a growth like this. I really want to thank everybody of you for coming here, for supporting us, supporting our projects, because together we are one. So.
Okay, so Daniele, for those who don't know, what is the Frog Nation? Explain it to people.
Well, I think the Frog Nation is more of a concept. Like, there is no token. This is important. There is nothing to ape in. The Frog Nation is more the idea that no matter which chain you like, or which project you like, or what ethnicity you are, or where you're from, everyone should have the same opportunities in life. And together is the only way in which we can ensure that these opportunities are truly for everyone. And also, thank you. Also, the second thing about the frogs, why frogs, right? Yeah, well, a lot of people, if you look at 2017 bull market, most of the personalities were known anonymous. So they were people that you know their names, surname, docs, etc. But in DeFi, the movement have changed a little bit. So there is a lot of frogs, a lot of paper frogs everywhere, right? A lot of anons. So I think that the frog identifies this idea of taking care of your own privacy, taking care of your own identity, taking care of your own funds, and scales it up into a group behavior to make sure that when we are all together, we are much, much stronger, and we can defend ourselves from those powers that do want to avoid us to be free in the financial markets. So you can see one of the motivations that got me started on really deploying things on DeFi was that after the DeFi summer, a lot of projects started talking about like, let's add KYC, let's ban American users from our interface. More recently, Uniswap has taken out like synthetic euros and a lot of like all the open security-like trading from their interface. I think that this is very bad. And unfortunately, like Sushi, if you look at the amount of users, actual users that use decentralized exchanges, Uniswap is still the number one, right? So you want that the layer that gives access to everyone is the layer that is the most open, not the most closed. And the centralized exchanges do not allow anyone to play it the same way because they do not offer massive amounts of different assets, even the small assets. They usually offer them when they reached already a certain size, a certain potential, and the small fish can buy, yes, good coins, maybe can still make a free 4x or whatever, but by the time they reaches these exchanges, they're way more established products, they're way more established things, so the upside is not there. On the other hand, Uniswap, anyone can list any shitcoin that they want, and which is great, in my opinion. And I am one of the few guys that believes that, for example, SHIB or Elon Mars, whatever, and all these freaking shitcoins and meme coins are good. Because they, for the first time, they teach people how to trade on a decentralized exchange, and the resonance of side chains, in my opinion, like Avalanche, which is I call it more of a type of side chain for now, but it's a L1.
Yep.
Is because these smaller assets and all of this became cheaper to trade. Because I remember when I was LPing Shiba, for example, I was one of the biggest LPers of SHIB on Uniswap V3. I remember looking a lot into the size of the transactions and how much they used to pay for gas fees. And there was a lot of people paying like 50, 80 bucks for make a purchase of 100 bucks of Shiba. Yeah, they still made money because it moaned, but they paid 80% of what they purchased, so it would have needed to go double pretty much to have any profit in there. And a lot of them, then I joined the Discord in that period of time. That was a couple of weeks when there was so much going on in Uniswap, and I joined the Uniswap Discord to see who these kind of guys were and the problems that they had. And you could see, for example, that they were coming with Trust Wallet, for example, a very interesting Coinbase wallet connected on mobile, so very small amount of money, asking questions, how do I connect my wallet, why I can't buy Marcelon, how does the slippage work, but this process is fundamental for moving towards what is coming, right? This concept that they learned for buying Elon or ASCII or whatever, you know, that GB. Process to get there, to understand that they needed to hire the slippage, they needed to connect in a certain way, etc., is what is going to make a difference in 2 years from now.
So you mentioned meme coins. I hear you talking a lot about meme coins on other chains. When are we going to get an Avalanche meme coin?
Well, there is
Meme coin?
there is Apex, for example.
Yeah, sure.
Shebax. I bought all of them. I got
You have them
wrecked,
all.
but of course I bought all of them. First, like,
So let's talk a little bit about Wonderland. How many people here are time holders or participated in Wonderland? Okay, wow.
Wow.
A lot. That's good to see.
Sirs, let's go.
You're
How
sweating
many
now.
are AVAX holders? About the same?
Yeah, the same. Good to see.
Yeah, good to see.
So people probably want to hear a little bit more about Wonderland. Obviously, it's Olympus Fork from the beginning, but what is your thoughts? What's your vision of Wonderland in the future? You and I have spoken about a few different things, but I'm curious, how do you see the future of Wonderland on Avalanche going forward?
Well, I think the first question I would like to respond that I'm sure some people here would like to hear. Where the fuck does this API come from?
APY.
Like everybody's like, oh, how is possible? Oh, the fuck. But it's printing, so I'm staying.
Is
it
it a
can't
Ponzi?
be real.
Is it a Ponzi?
Yeah. Well, I guess.
It depends on your perspective.
We all love the Ponzi, right?
Yeah.
So the idea here and why the APY has sustained so high in comparison to Olympus is all based on the mechanics. It's very simple. We don't really decide how the API is going to be. The way that when you bond, which is a term I don't really like that much, but it's what it is. When you bond AVAX, for example, into Wonderland for purchasing time, basically you are making an OTC deal from the time treasury to buy time at a discount. And that's why you want to bond, because when there is like a tremendous price action or things like this, it also opens up a certain gap in which you can actually bond and have a discount on purchasing time. This is released with an OTC with a vesting period, basically. I call it an OTC with a vesting period. This vesting period is 5 days. So during these 5 days, you get your time back that you purchased. But as you purchase this time from the treasury has a profit, big profit, because it's selling you something that didn't exist before. So this profit goes to the memo stakers. So when you stake time into memories, then you are allowed to capture these profits in terms of APY. And the runway, what is a lot of people look at, the runway is nothing more than all the profit that has been generated that is getting distributed in form of time to the memo stakers. It's very simple. I think it's nothing too complex. That's why, in a way, works. And it has been fantastic to see it in action on Avalanche because it's very cheap and simple to use. And everyone can really participate and do very quick, like collect, for example, collect your time, stake it right away, something that you can't really do on Ethereum because it's super expensive. You need to kind of time it out when you buy. That's why the size of bonds, this is an important metric. The size of bonds on Olympus, on ETH, are much larger than the bonds on Wonderland, on Avalanche. Because of this reason, you need to consider the gas fees every time you bond and you put it on staking in SOM, right? So what is the future of Wonderland? Everybody know, I don't like to copy things. Like, that's not my thing. Like, I like to make things that are new and unique. So my idea was that the concept of Olympus is a great way to distribute a token, like a mega ICO, I would say. I look at it in this way. So you actually distribute the tokens to the people that are actually the strongest hands. So the ones that believe the most in the vision, in the projects, et cetera, over a very long extended period of time. At the same time, while you are distributing, you are actually doing a real ICO in some way because you are selling these bonds constantly and the treasury of the DAO is becoming larger and larger. So the team tokens or the treasury tokens become the LP and all the things that you have been bonding over time. Then what is very interesting is how can we combine this way of distributing this wealth over time with utility of the base layer of the token, so the utility of time. And my opinion is that time and Wonderland should become the base currency of multiple games. The first will be an RPG that we are developing, but we should open it up for more projects to enable this new ecosystem to thrive on top of Avalanche, because it's a great chain for gaming, in my opinion. Like NFTs, all this require very cheap transactions, very fast transactions, and I want to develop this layer on top that will allow any game developer to build on top of a currency system that will be time, and a great layer one, that will be Avalanche. So,
Very exciting.
I started talking with Super Farm. I really like the guys. Elliot is a great guy, and they have been having a little bit of a harder time on the token economics kind of things. You know, they don't understand.
3-3.
Like, they're very strong in the NFTs gaming, but they're not as strong into the DeFi or involvement into the economical things, right? So I think that partnership can be very solid over the longer term, and really have a partner, the first partners of many, to start building beautiful things on top of Avalanche and Wonderland.
So do you sleep?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Not enough.
Not enough. Clearly, it's not possible with the with the amount of tweets and projects you put out. So let's talk a little bit. We talked a little bit about Wonderland. What about MIM, Abracadabra? That's a project and Popsicle obviously is one I know you're very bullish on. Why don't you talk about how all these projects come together with the Frog Nation, this ethos, what you're trying to build, sort of.
So, Abracadabra is deployed on Avalanche. So right now we have 2 CDPs, one being a single-sided AVAX, so it can borrow for very cheap, and the other one is Memo, wrapped Memo. I will open a parenthesis on wrapped Memo. So, for who doesn't understand what wrapped Memo is, but aped anyway, which makes total sense in my opinion. You don't need always to understand everything, and those are the best apes, to be honest. I don't get it, I buy it. But what it does is that when you're in the staking contract, then the amount of memories that you have changes all the time, which is good. And the index that you see in the front page, the index 1.1.2, now is index 2, it means that if you staked at the very beginning of the starting of the project, you would have double the amount of time that you would have had by staking. So this is a rebased token. So you can't really do much with the rebased token for the reason that it changes in values constantly. So it's not suitable for using it directly as a mean as a CDP in a CDP. So you can't borrow directly because it changes, it goes down in value. It's a mess. It's similar to the Aave tokens. The Aave tokens are rebasing, a pain in the ass. So, yeah, well, it's true. It's how it is. But the system is designed that way. So, compound, it's not. The C token is different, right? So, the way that wrapped memo works is just a wrapper that includes all the memories, and it's always makes internal accounting to make sure that it's one unit, it's all the units that is behind. There's nothing special, nothing. Now, yes, it's a pain in the ass because it's 0.000 fucking whatever. Yes, I hate it too. But it's what it is, and it's worth a lot of money because there is a lot of memories inside. That's the reason why, right?
That's the reason why.
So we created this wrapper at the beginning, and we were the first to implement the WS-OM wrapper because it was part of our discussion on how to bring Olympus cross-chain. I think it's pretty cool. And that is, and the same is with WMEM. So you can have if Olympus, now we'll talk a little bit about Olympus, if Olympus needs to become the currency of the future, that is not a stable coin, but it's more like a Bitcoin for DeFi, then you need to have a wrapper or a unit that doesn't change in number inside of your wallet. Like you want to be able to say, I send you one of this,
Sure.
right? A unit of this. But at the same time, retain the value proposition of going up in price or maintaining
Value,
the price, right? So, so in our case with W time, it was more the idea of giving access to W Memo, to giving access to it in different chains, for example, Phantom, potentially BSC, and so on, because we want more participants to participate in this distribution, but in the future, very likely this distribution will stop. So the Wonderland does not really want to become the reserve currency of the world. Like it's not my, I don't, no thank you. Like, like it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Olympus should try to do that. We wanted to create a currency for a metaverse, and when the distribution will end, and there will be a discussion in the DAO to work out the economics of this, but when the distribution will end, time will be the token. And then we can start building around it.
So what do you think about, you mentioned the metaverse, right? This is a term that's thrown around a lot. How do you see the future of the metaverse going forward? Like, let's use Wonderland as an example. What will people be able to do? What excites you about it?
I'm really excited of things like, for example, Minecraft. Like I think Minecraft.
Yeah, sure.
Like I think Minecraft in a way is a metaverse. Like people build whatever they want. Like they build games, they build things, and there is unlimited creativity that goes on that. I feel like Wonderland is the Minecraft of economics. Like people can build anything on top of a solid system of economics to then upgrade their own games to become profitable. So
that makes sense.
That's how I see it. It's more like infrastructure than and the game that we build ourselves is more something like a proof of concept than what it has to be. Like sometimes you need to show others how things should be for inspire people to build new things on top, right? So we need to be the ones leading ahead on that side. Yeah.
And you have a lot of experience. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you have a lot of experience in stablecoins in general, just given your background. What led you to, focus on MIM, Magic Internet Money? Why is that the design? Why is that the one that you want to push, just given your background? And why are you either unhappy with the landscape as it is, or why can it be better?
So I think everything comes into this. I have this infrastructure mindset.
Sure.
Like I like to build infrastructure. And from the beginning of the year, I've been probably the most loud proponent of the multi-chain universe. I think the narrative of Polkadot, for example, was to create the chain of the chains kind of situation. But in reality, what happened is that nothing to say bad about Polkadot, to be honest. It's always good. But this is already happening with bridges and multiple layers one. Like today, with Magic Internet Money, just to look into the infrastructure thing, is the only token that is capable of moving without slippage for free from a layer 2 on Ethereum that is Arbitrum towards Avalanche and so on, instantly. This is how it's supposed to be. Like I don't need to think too much. I need to have my Magic Internet Money in my wallet, wherever it is, and I need to be able to go wherever I want. That's why we call it meme airlines. Like it's, yes, it's like the Magic Internet Money Airlines. I don't have a private jet. It's actually on the chain, right? And the vision here was that it comes back to 2017 and how I see things from 2017 and before. Communities in between 2015 to 2018 have built around centralized exchanges. That's how it is. So Binance is so strong because it has the community from those times. So the whales that become whales because of those times. And Bitfinex the same, the whales that are earlier. So there is a community around centralized exchanges. OKX, all this. Wobi. Now, the new paradigm, in my opinion, is that now communities have built around layer ones and blockchains. So those are the new communities, the new people inside of the blockchain space. And this community realized that at the end of the day, I look at the layer one the same way that I look at Binance. Same. Like, what does DeFi on Avalanche is composed of? Simply the same value proposition that an exchange has translated into a chain in a trustless way. So we have the exchange component, which is Trader Joe.
Pangolin, yep.
I like the Joe. Then we have the borrowing and lending component, especially where we have Aave.
And
perfect
yeah, Aave,
example.
Banky, Banker
Yes.
Joe.
And it's the same with with Binance. You can borrow and lend on Binance all the time. Then you have the margin trading and the bigger borrowing, so the cheaper liquidity, that is Abracadabra. Then you have potentially derivatives. I don't know who is coming. Not
Yeah, there's
that
Arrow,
updated.
there's a bunch that are in the
there is
pipeline.
derivatives, for example, and there is a stable coin. So now Tether, I don't know if you saw the new Tether Truther, the Truther or whatever.
Yeah, what is it?
But in reality, Tether, if you look at the history of what it did, it connected these communities together. So at the moment in from 2014 to 2018, was very difficult for these centralized exchanges to open banking relationships. So you couldn't really deposit or keep in deposit in an exchange a large amount of US dollars, but the prevalent pair was BTC US dollar and ETH US dollar. So you required a pair or a system or an infrastructure, this is where we are getting, that would allow banking basically for all these new exchanges, including Binance. Without Tether, no Binance. Without Tether, no Wobi. So when they created all these new pairs, BTC USDT, Ethereum USDT, what happened is that they decided to use Ethereum as ERC20 token.
Yep.
And this pushed a lot integration, because as an exchange needed to integrate Tether for being able to trade BTC, then they integrated the ERC20, and having this integrated already, then they could have integrated very easily any other token that was the ERC20 standard. So Tether has pushed the limits and the easy integration on all these exchanges for the ERC20 standard. Now, why was important, all of this? Because for the first time, I don't know who is here that is from a little bit older ages of Bitcoin, but many, I think, some. What you had potentially was that you had the price of Bitcoin on Bitfinex that was even 10% different than on Wobi, or even more. At a certain extent, in Korea, there was people flying to Hong Kong in ATMs to buy Bitcoin, bring it back to Korea, and sell it in the market there, right? So this was very real, for the reason that arbitrage was not happening at all.
Be a frog, you have the fly.
Yeah, you see, I have a friend. Yeah. So when arbitrage started to happen, then the prices started to really create a real market, and newcomers like, for example, Cumberland started to look into the market and saying, if I can really move USDT very quickly from one exchange to another, then really I can make money. So how does this translate into what is our vision with Abracadabra. It translates that if you really can move a stablecoin for free in between all chains how you want and without passing always from Ethereum or from whatever, and you create this network of value that can be transferred all across, and you start then engaging with the communities of each individual layer one, and then really things start to become similar to what the centralized exchanges world looks like.
And so it could be minted on other layer ones versus something like DAI, which has to be bridged.
Exactly. So then you are natively considering each individual market or each individual layer one as an integral component of the backing of this stablecoin. So you really move into a world in which value is distributed. And then the backing of a stablecoin should be distributed in the same way and has no bias. So if Avalanche will be the number one in the future, then very good. We have minted a lot of magic internet money with it, right? If it's not going to happen, it doesn't matter because it's going to still be a part of the reserves of this stablecoin as CDP. And it gives free opportunity to anyone to grow as much as they want. Secondly, very important is that USDT allowed leverage. So now, I think that one important thing that I consider is that the real world does not work with peer-to-peer lending. When you go around and you want, for example, an hypothec or a loan, you go to the bank. The bank doesn't give you money from some other individual. It gives you money from the central bank. That's how it's worked. That's their business model. So so now we are in a phase in which TVL in some way it's unrealistic in DeFi, in my opinion, because we have this massive folding going on. So we not can say that the open interest or the open lending, real open lending in DeFi is 11 billion TVL of average.
And folding is when people...
Yes. Folding, it means that I borrow one stablecoin to flip it to another and blah, 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 for just farming reason. So I want to augment my APY. It's bullshit that there is like $6 billion of people that really want to borrow with ETH. Like, where are these people? I want to know them. Like, it's idiotic to think about. So, but that's the reason why the peer-to-peer market never worked. And directly, market makers borrow and lend on centralized exchanges because they're the biggest liquidity provider, but their incentive is to allow margin trading and especially futures. So when people say, oh, Tether has minted 1 billion. Who is the guy that bought 1 billion Tether? It must be a pump.
Was it you?
I wish. It's just that there is an arbitrage in between the US dollars request for purchasing USDT for arbitraging basic cash and carry futures market.
But I saw a whale alert.
Yeah?
I saw a whale alert, so it must be real.
Yeah, it's exactly. But it's very simple. There is someone that sees an arbitrage in between holding spot Bitcoin and shorting Bitcoin in a certain exchange, and there is a market maker that is willing to sell the USDT to this person for enabling this cash and carry trade to happen for a premium. So they go to Tether and they say, I need 300 million because I have this OTC or I have FTX that is trading USDT. We need to replenish that book because we run out. We don't have any more. So the same concept we need to start to apply really to DeFi. DeFi will not scale if we not try to implement the CeFi things in a decentralized way. I hate CDeFi. Fuck CDeFi. Let's just make a better user experience on DeFi that really and truly gives opportunity to people to do all these things, cash and carry, leverage trading, borrowing and lending in a normal way.
They just
and so
remove
on.
the MetaMask layer or
Remove-
the wallet layer.
Yeah, would be. Yeah, I mean, I wish that MetaMask worked a little bit better, but.
We're working on it.
Well, well, it's not just in the RPCs too. Like, that would be very nice. But I think that I want to a little bit wrap up this thinking. So if peer-to-peer lending is not how the current world infrastructure works, why are we trying to make it work on DeFi? Stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We need more money. We need much more money for making it happen because we are talking about
Because
trillions.
we're early.
Yes, we have trillions of derivatives out there. I don't think anyone knows how much trillions of derivatives exist, to be honest. Too many. So now, what is the state of the market? TVL is $230 billion. Shit, it's small. Like, if we want to really scale to the extent of really competing with the traditional finance, we need a central bank of DeFi. This is where I wanted to come to. And Magic Internet Money wants to become the central bank of DeFi, allowing really to extend the power of being able to mint US dollar value into these markets and create all this leverage trading, all these derivatives markets, all of this in the hands of each individual chain that wants to take the opportunity to use the wealth that has been generated by creating these tokens or the AVAX ecosystem and leverage it and make it available inside of his own ecosystem to become truly powerful.
So we are winding up a little bit on time. I know we've talked about a few things, but a lot of people here have traveled a long way to see you, talk to you, hear you. What kind of alpha do you have for them? What can you drop for the people here?
Well, JLPs are coming, very likely next week.
And what are JLPs?
JLP is Trader Joe liquidity provider tokens.
So your ex-Joe can become collateral. That
Yes.
one? Yes.
While still farming Joe and Avalanche Rush
Uh-oh.
incentives when they will be. So that means that we can take all the TVL of Trader Joe, we can put it inside of Abracadabra, and we can take out half, for example, of that in Magic Internet Money and invest again in the ecosystem. This is what I want to see,
Beautiful.
right? We want
Me
to
too,
really-
right?
Yeah,
You know that.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
When incentives?
When incentive? When the factory?
Well, yeah. So we have been a little
Curve
bit
factory
limited.
for anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have been very limited on deployment, but I talked this morning to Michael from Curve, and I think in the next days we will be able to have a Magic Internet Money pool. Now, how I would like it to be is a little bit different. I think that a lot of people don't understand Aave tokens or an Aave 3 pool. So I would like to have it as Magic, how I call it, the 3 pool version 2. So Magic Internet Money together with USDT-E, that is the bridge token, and USDC-E. So the utility is increased. So the way that it moves around the arbitrage in the ecosystem is faster, and we really can have velocities increased by a lot.
Do you have some time?
Yeah.
You have a little bit of
A
time?
lot.
A lot of time?
A lot of fucking time, dude.
Should we let the audience ask a few questions?
Yeah, please do. Please.
Yeah, let's get a few questions from the audience. You have the time, so.
Yeah. I'm
Hello,
here
hello.
for you
All right,
guys.
who's got a question?
Does anybody have a question?
Gentleman right here.
There we go.
Your name, sir?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. A huge
Ciao,
fan
sir.
of Popsicle and meme as well. With regards to the meme, I'm curious how you think about the risk, right? So people can use a lot of different collateral, which is volatile, and it's segregated cauldrons, right? So if one of them blows up, then it's not great. So does therefore the system fully rely on the liquidators being very efficient? And I'm just wondering, what are the mechanisms that exist to make sure that when we get into the bear market, the meme will still survive and succeed?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. So I was talking this morning actually to the Delphi research guys about this, because
Who's that? Delphi?
the Delphi research.
Oh, yeah.
Delphi or whatever.
Delphi?
Delphine.
Delphi? Dolphin?
I don't know, dude. So last week we had a mega dump of Om. So it was supposed to be my day off. You remember?
I remember very well.
Yeah. So I went to sleep quite early. And that was pretty nice. And I say, I go to sleep. I took some melatonin. So
Some
I really
what?
went melatonin.
Melatonins.
Yeah. And then, oops. Well, what happened?
I don't know.
Well. Then at 7 in the morning, I see Alameda calling me.
Who's that? Alameda?
Yeah, Alameda, sending me a lot of messages. I'm like, oh Jesus, what is going on? Then I open my Telegram and there is a lot of messages. And the first that I see is Magic Internet Money still backed by the CDPs?
So in other words, is it insolvent?
Yes. So the question was, are the cauldrons solvent? Because Rari Capital is insolvent. So we want to know if we need to buy MIM, basically. That's Alameda play always. They want the alpha first, so they can just buy the MIM and say, all good. Or if we should actually pull out of the triple, right? So what happens here? How our system is designed is that we have different cauldrons. Each cauldron has an allowance of maximum amount of Magic Internet money that you can borrow. Now, what they saw, and this has changed in the UI for this reason, what people saw is that there was $120 million worth of OM posted as collateral, but there was no clarity on how many MIM they have borrowed with all that money, because the loan to value was like 75. So it could have been like $75 million of MIM outstanding, which is a lot of money. Instead, no. The allowance and a lot of OMIs always post when MIM to the cauldron, because the reason is that we never allowed a lot of borrowing happening, and the position, the CDPs there were pre-pump, let's say. Yeah. So they were all around $150 to $200 ratio for liquidation, so very low loan to value. That then we did a run check just to make sure, because I wanted to post it to the largest institutional that were in the triple, right, with MIM. And we did, Georgie did a whole report on each individual CDP and each individual cauldron, and we was highly solvent, because risk management can be applied to this type of system. It's very important, because on Compound, the reason why they can't generate as much revenue as we do, which is at all-time high, we did the Merlin dildo, how I call it yesterday, because it was too big. It was 2.4 million buyback yesterday, is because we are capable of managing more high-risk collaterals, giving them allowances, which we consider good because of the depth of liquidity and the sidelines, et cetera, and create returns, high returns to our stakers, because nobody is supplying MIM. We are supplying MIM as Spell owners. Like if you own Spell, and especially if you
make
are
money
staking,
on the liquidation,
you own the central bank of DeFi. This is the cool thing about it. And liquidation went super well. Also time went almost no liquidation. So highly solvent. El Patron did his job. That is the.
And who is El Patron?
El Patron is our liquidation bot. Yeah, it's El Patron, and
Patron,
debt collector,
or the father.
El Patron, debt collector.
The debt collector.
I'm
okay.
El Patron.
That's you.
He is my debt collector.
All right, let's see if we can have one more short question.
Please.
Right.
I hope it answers your question, sir.
Right, we've got one back here. Your name, sir? Michael from?
Hello. I have just a very short question for you. When sorbetto, sir?
Come to the popsicle event tonight, sir.
Oh boy, there's the alpha. So limone, fragola, which one?
Fragola, fragola.
Fragola, okay. That's strawberries.
Sprinting, dude. It's unbelievable. Like the UI guys from Popsicle needed to make bigger boxes on mobile because there was too many zeros on the APYs of certain pairs. It was like embarrassing. It was like we can't count it as APY. It needs to be APR because
It
APY
has to be APR, yeah.
spell
Don't let it
it-
compound.
Spell it like about $1 million was 2 million APY with sorbet on V3. What's
Wow.
hilarious? I was like, geez,
There you go. The future of Italy. All right.
the future of France, sir.
Yeah, I'm changing it though.
Liberté, égalité, frogité.
See. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Daniele,
Thank
for
you,
your
sir.
time.
Thank you very much.
And we look to see more. We're excited to see more about Wonderland and everything else on Avalanche, as well as throughout all the layer ones in the ecosystem.
Congratulations anyway for your work in Avalanche. I think is going to the right direction. Well, everybody likes to see like crazy price actions, of course, but if you look back at 3 months ago, we are very well placed. So always good.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Come.